Okay, so good morning. My name is Iqbal Garewal, Technical Support Manager here at CADpoint. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Top 10 Tips for Autodesk AEC Collection, Phasing and Design Options using Revit. We have with us today our Architectural Technologist and BIM Manager, Jonathan Reinhardt. He's going to provide you with some handy tips and an introduction to this popular topic. To give you some background about us, CADpoint is based in Crowthorne, Berkshire. We have a team of experts ready to assist you in all aspects of design. We are excited to officially announce that the company was recently acquired by Greytech UK. Greytech is an international BIM fabrication and design software developer for AEC and an Autodesk Platinum partner across Europe. We're also partners with some of the most trusted hardware manufacturers in the industry, including HP, NVIDIA, etc. As well as software, our team can also offer introductory training for new customers and advanced courses for experienced users to help you get more from your software. Being part of Greytech UK now, we also offer you a considerable portfolio of technical services and products to enhance design workflows. Better benefits include industry-specific Greytech software, additional UK training centres, Greytech Power Packs, technical consulting, and custom software development. So moving on, without further ado, I'll now pass you on to Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Iqbal. Hi, my name is Jonathan Reinhardt and I have a background in the architectural industry since 2005. I've worked as a BIM manager, as an architectural technologist, and I've studied to degree and master's levels in both areas. Today, I'm going to present top 10 tips on phasing and design options using Revit. The agenda will be brief, and this will cover design options, an overview and tips, and then we'll move on to looking at phasing as a separate topic with an overview and tips on that as well. And at the end, we'll have lots of time for a Q&A. You can use design options to explore alternative designs in the building model. You can develop multiple options for different parts of the model, all within the same project. You can find your design options under your Manage tab, Design Options panel, and then Design Options button inside Revit. For example, you can use design options to consider different roof styles and different front entries in the same building model. With design options, a team can develop, evaluate, and redesign building components and rooms within a single project file. Some team members can work on specific options, such as variations of a lobby, while the rest of the team continues with the main model. Design options can vary in complexity. For example, a designer may want to explore alternatives for entry designs or structural systems for a roof. Design options tend to become more focused and simplified as the project progresses. They are typically used as follows: changing the entry design, exploring different layouts for rooms or furniture, trying different window configurations, developing sustainable design alternatives. You can use design options to explore multiple designs as the project develops. At any time in the design process, you can have multiple sets of design options. Typically, each set of design options addresses a particular issue or area. For example, to explore possibilities for a pergola and sunshade for a roof terrace, you can create an option set called roofing with multiple roofing designs, sunscreen, or louvers. In addition, you can create an option set called roof structure with multiple structural designs, brackets, or beams. After the final design is chosen, you can incorporate the chosen options into the main model and remove the alternatives. For some workflow tips, you can use this process to develop sets of design options for your building model. In general, the process of using design options is as follows. Decide on the areas for which you want to develop design options. For example, you want to create one set of design options for the entry of a building and a second set of design options for the roof. Create the building model, including all elements that will be common to all of the design options. This is the main model. For example, create the building model first, including the foundation, floor, walls, and other parts of the building. Don't include any elements that will belong to the entry or the roof. Those elements will be added using design options. If you add elements to a building and later decide that those elements should be part of a design option, you can move them to the design option. Number 3, create a design option set for each area. For example, you create one design option set named entry and another design option set named roof. For each design option set, edit the primary option. When you create a design option set, Revit also creates a primary option for the set. The primary option is typically the preferred design or the design that you think will be chosen. It will be displayed in the project views by default. Other design options will appear in views only when you specify. Edit the primary option to add elements to the design as desired. Step 5 is to create secondary options for each design option. You can create one or more secondary options for each set. For example, the entry option set, you create secondary options named revolving door and 2 double doors. In general, any elements that will be modified or referenced in an option should belong to the design option instead of the main model. Step 6, create views that display each design option. By default, all project views display the main model with primary design options only. To see secondary options, create project views that show them, that are called dedicated views. You can then place these views on sheets to present the designs to clients. And step 7, incorporate a design option into the main model. After the client has selected the desired option for each option set, you can incorporate the selected designs into the main model. This process deletes the design option set, so the other options in the set are no longer available, and the selected option becomes part of the building. You should review yourself with some of the terminology associated with design options, such as dedicated view, active option, to understand design options in the context of Revit. So main model, the parts of the building model that are not defined using design options. The main model is the entire building model excluding any design options. A design option set, this is a collection of alternatives that address a particular design problem, such as a lobby or a floor layout. Design option, one possible solution to the design problem. Primary option, the preferred design option in the design option set. The primary option has a closer relationship to the main model than secondary options. Elements in the main model and in the primary option can reference each other. Only one design option in a set can be the primary option. All other options are secondary. By default, each project view displays both the main model and the primary option for each set. Secondary option, a design option that is an alternative to the primary option in the set. Elements in a secondary option can reference elements in the main model. However, elements in the main model cannot reference elements in a secondary option. Active option, the design option that you are currently editing. Dedicated view, a view that is dedicated to a specific design option. When this view is active or added to a sheet, Revit shows the design option along with the main model. A best practice tip to prepare the main model for design options. In the main model, create as much of the model as possible before adding any design options. Include elements that will be common to all design options. Use design options for only those parts of the model that will vary. To create a design option, a best practice is create a design option set, add the design option, and add elements to the design option. And on the right hand side here, we can see the option set in the hierarchy of the design options. Then below that, you have options within that option set. And finally, you will then add elements to the design option by simply selecting them in the main model and then adding to set, and you will choose what set you want to add them to. If main model elements need to clean up connections with secondary design options elements, move those elements from the main model to one or more design options in the set. You cannot join the geometry of elements that are part of a secondary option with elements that are part of the main model. For example, if walls in the main model need to attach to a roof in roof option 2, move the walls from the main model into roof option 2. To see secondary options with the main model, create duplicate views that are dedicated to those options. These views are called dedicated views. That dedicated view typically displays a specified design option for each set. You can dedicate all kinds of views, including schedules, to a specified design option. For example, you can create one schedule for the primary option and another schedule for a secondary option. Each schedule lists elements that are in the main model, as well as elements that are in the specified design options. To create a dedicated view, open a view that you want to dedicate to a design option. By default, the view displays the primary option with the main model. In the project browser, right-click the view name and do the following. If you want to duplicate the view, include model elements only with no annotations or detailing, click Duplicate View and Duplicate. If you want to include model elements as well as annotations and details from the original view, click Duplicate View and Duplicate with detailing. Design options provide a way to build model alternatives for a design. The main model contains parts of the design that will not change, and the design options contains the parts of the model that can be swapped out depending on the decisions being made by the designer. In this example, we will create a design option for the courtyard of this building. In one option, the courtyard will contain a patio and a pavilion type structure, and the other option will not include these elements. Currently, the model has the pavilion and the patio created as part of the main model. As the design options are set up, the geometry of the pavilion will be redefined as part of a design option. On the Manage tab, select Design Options, or you can quickly access the Design Options dialog from the control on the application frame. In the Design Options dialog, create a new option set for the courtyard, create two options for the courtyard, one option for a clear courtyard, and one option for the pavilion and patio. Click to close the dialog. Now move the geometry of the pavilion and the patio into the design option. Select all the geometry unique to the design option and click Add to Set on the Manage tab or Quick Access button on the application frame. In the Add to Design Option Set dialog, select the Pavilion and Patio option and click OK. Click Delete Elements in the Error dialog. The roof of the pavilion was removed, so the curtain wall geometry changed, resulting in the error. The moved elements are no longer visible because the visibility and graphics of the view are set to not show elements in the pavilion and patio option. The first and second floor level slabs, the grade beams, and the curtain wall where the pavilion is located are elements that have two different configurations, depending on the option selected. Select the slabs, grade beams, and the curtain wall, then click Add to Set button. Click OK to add the elements to both design options. Now modify the floor slabs for the clear courtyard design option. Notice that the geometry for a design option cannot be selected. Use the drop-down control to select the clear courtyard for editing. The elements that are not in the option display in halftone, and the elements in the option can be edited. Use the Control Edit to edit the pavilion and patio option. In this option, select the curtain wall and attach the base to the roof element. Continue adding and editing geometry in the design option or in the main model as required by the design. Use the drop-down control to set the option to work on. In the Properties palette, click Visibility Graphics Override to control which design options are visible in a view. On the Design Options tab, the option set is listed on the left and the option to display is listed on the right. The automatic selection will display the option marked as primary, or you can use the drop-down to explicitly control the option displayed in the view. Use design options to model different options in the same model. Visualize, quantify how the options affect the overall design. To use room schedules for design options, you should create a room schedule specifically for a design option. When you create a new view, such as a room schedule, by default, its design option settings are set to automatic. As a result, the room schedule lists all rooms in the main model and primary options. To create a room schedule for a design option, create a schedule view and dedicate it to the design option. The room schedule will then list rooms in the main model and in the specified design options for each option set. And this setting is found on the left-hand side under Graphics and Visibility Graphics. And this will only appear as long as you have design options enabled on your project, and simply clicking Edit, you can set the design options for that particular schedule. To dive a bit more into what we covered in the previous design options tips and best practices, just to explain it, I suppose, inside the software. So here we have a floor plan of a building, and let's say we want to create a furniture layout design option. So I'm going to go down to my design option down the bottom here, or in fact you can, if you want, to go up to your Manage tab and go to design options. So you can access it here, or you can access it down here, and your design options drop down from either the main model option here or main model here. So I usually go to the bottom bar because it's always available. I'm going to create a new option set. I'm just going to rename that particular set desks. So what we're going to do is just create a desk layout or desk layout. So within that desk layout, then we're going to have two different options. So within that, then we're going to create another option. And then separately, for a new option set, we want to create another option set that's actually just a bathroom layout that's completely separate to the desk arrangement. So option set bathroom, and in there we want to create two different options, let's say. So I'm just going to close that. So I'll start placing some desks in my main model. So I'm just going to start placing these like so. Copy and paste. So you can see I can actually select those, and down here we have what's our different options, and you can see the option set at the top is grayed out, and below that are your two sub options of that. In fact, so that's the hierarchy that we created already. So what we're going to do is select these two options. I'm going to add to set. So select all those desks, and I don't want to add them to that. I just want to add them to the desk layout. So I want them to make them only available in option 1 primary. So click OK on that. So now if I go to desk layout, option 1 primary, they will be there. If I go to option 2, they will not be there. So what I can now do if I want is I can maybe create a different type of layout. Let's say we want to go with angled desks in an office or a school, for example. So there we have more desks. So if I go to option 1 primary, you can see they don't appear. If I go to option 2, they do appear. So they are selectable in there. But if I go to my main model, you can actually see that anything that's in an option set is not selectable. So I can't select these desks. What I could do if I wanted to was place maybe different types of furniture. So maybe I want to create another option set of these desks. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to place them randomly around, and I'm actually going to clash them with the existing desks. I'll show you the reason for that in a moment. Flash them with that. So all I want to do here is now I want to create another option in desks. So create option, that's option 3. And what I can actually do is actually select those desks, and it will only select the ones that I just placed. Add to set, go into my desk layout, and just make sure that they only apply to the third set. So hit apply. So we have 3 sets. That's 1, option 2, and option 1 primary. So you can keep creating different sets for each of your different layouts essentially. So you can do the same if we had a different bathroom layout, for example. You could also do the same by just adding items to it, such as your sink and bath and everything that goes into a bathroom. You can set them to different sets the same way we did with a desk as well. We will now look at Revit phasing. Many projects such as renovations proceed in phases, each representing a distinct period in the life of the project. Revit tracks the phase in which views or elements are created or demolished. You can use phase filters to control the flow of building model information into views and schedules. This allows you to create phase-specific project documentation, complete with schedules. You can apply phases to schedules. For example, in a large renovation project, a door schedule would usually list all doors created in the project. In a building with hundreds of doors, the schedule could become difficult to work with because the demolished doors would be listed with the post-renovation doors, instead of working with a schedule in which half of the doors are eventually demolished. You could create one pre-demolition schedule and one post-renovation schedule, applying the appropriate phase to each. This image shows a floor plan in different phases of a project: existing construction, demolition, new construction, and then complete at the bottom. Phasing tools control the display of elements to show how they relate to the timeline of the project. When you use phasing in a project, the elements in the model take on statuses that are related to the project timeline. The statuses of an element control the visual representation of the element. All elements in the project take on one of 4 possible statuses: existing, demolished, new, or temporary. The status assigned to an element is dependent on 2 factors: the phase parameter of the view and the phase created or phase demolished parameter of the element. You can select the phase created in the Properties palette from the list of all phases defined in the project. The phase created parameter can also be set indirectly when you place the element in the project. The phase parameter of the view that is active when you place the element is automatically assigned to the element. For example, if you place a wall in a view whose phase is set to existing, then the phase created parameter for the object is set to existing. Likewise, when a view's phase is set to phase 1, when the phase created parameter for any object you place in the view is set to phase 1. The same principle applies when you use the demolition tool on an element. The phase parameter of the view is assigned to the phase demolished parameter of the object. To summarize, an element's status is determined by both the phase parameter of the view and the phase created or phase demolished parameters. Now we look at these 2 factors together. When phase created matches the phase of the view, then the element status is new. When phase created is from a previous phase in the timeline, then the element status is existing. When an existing element also has a phase demolished parameter that matches the phase of the view, then the element status is demolished. When the phase created and phase demolished parameters both match the phase of the view, the element status is temporary. When phase created is for a future phase in the timeline, the elements have no status assigned to them and they are not displayed. The status of each element is used with the phase filter settings of the view to control the visual representation of the elements across all the views of the project. To go a bit more then into how the phases work, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open up a blank project. Let's go into new model. I'm just going to open up the proprietary metric architectural template. Just click OK, and just to show you the pre-installed phases that are set up in this. So you can see phases down the bottom left as we saw in the previous examples. So what I'm going to do in a floor plan, I'm just going to draw some walls. Just draw 4 basic walls. And if I select all of these walls, I can see they're all set to new construction. So what I'm going to actually do, I'm going to set these to existing construction. And I'm going to draw some new walls as if it's an extension on a building. Simple. So you can actually see when you zoom in on this, the black lines and then the grayed out lines. So the grayed out lines are existing structure, and then the black lines are any new construction. And if I change the phase of that, it will also update as well. But we want this to be a new extension on the edge of that particular wall. So what I want to do now is place this onto a sheet. So I'm going to place this onto a sheet and create a couple of different versions of it. So I'm going to take level 1, place it onto this particular sheet, take level 1. So I'm actually just going to make it smaller just so we can fit a couple more onto the actual sheet plan itself. Crop this, show crop region. So what we can do is then duplicate this and just show it as different phases on a particular sheet, or you can in fact choose a separate sheet if you want. So that's level 1. So I can see if I select that view, I can see that the phase filter is show all. It's going to show all new construction. But by showing all, it includes the existing because it's not actually being removed. If we had walls in here, for example, so I'm going to create some walls that we're actually going to demolish. So I'm going to create these like so. I'll actually place a door in them as well. And place them on existing and just phase demolished, and we want them to demolish at the new construction stage. So we can see now that they actually highlight in a different color. So it shows me actually what's being demolished and what's being constructed. So if I go to show complete, that will now disappear. Demo and new. So it will only show what's being built and just the demolitions. Only show new, it's only going to show those walls. So what I'm going to do is I want to show all. I'm going to duplicate this. Go back down, and what I'm going to do is just set different phases. So I'm going to ignore the title of it for now. We're going to show that's I'm just going to show I'm going to change this one just to existing. Hit apply, so it'll show what's existing. This particular one is going to show, we only want to show what's being demolished. So it's only show previous and demo. So it's only showing previous phase and the demolition, so that's another one. I'm just going to drop this down again. And duplicate another floor plan. Duplicate another floor plan. Go back to my sheet. Change the phase of this to complete, new construction. So it's going to show the final or finished building. Finished floor plan. So I'll leave those 3. And what we're going to do is actually create another sheet. So we can rename this level 1 to existing. Just keep it simple, call it existing plan for now. Rename this to demolition. and this is proposed. Proposed plan. What I'm actually going to do is just delete those for a moment. I'm going to create another. What I'm going to do is just change the scale of these just so we can get them all on the same sheet. Change it. 1 is to 200. Existing plan. Demolition. Just go into my 3D view. So you can see my 3D view has shows my demolition, and you can again check the filter of this. So it's showing all new construction. So what I want to do is actually create a named view of that. So duplicate just once for now. I'm going to drag that onto my sheet. So you can see that it actually produces your demolition drawings automatically for you, which is extremely powerful. Save you a lot of work. So I'm just going to place this up here. Tidy this up, and we're just going to create the same matching faces essentially. And just to be aware, if you are using view templates, so if I select this, I go into view template, you can, if you're using a view template, you can set the phasing option in here as well. So phase filter, you can change the phase filter in there, that when you apply a view template, that it applies the same view filter. So that, I suppose that's a matter of preference as well, or even workflow. So I need to hide these. So I'm going to copy that, duplicate that again, duplicate it again, and then we're going to place those copies the same way on the sheet. That scale 1 is to 200. You can see they're all currently on the same phase. So we're going to set this one to show all existing. So showing existing. Set this one to show previous and demo. And new construction. Oh, this is set to shaded view. If I hit SD, you can see it kind of comes up in color. I think for the red, it looks quite effective, and I'll show you how to change the actual view settings of those phase settings in a moment. The colors of the actual elements, the temporary elements. So change this to complete. Construction, I'm going to actually apply that to SD as well. So I'm actually just going to hide the titles on these because we know what they are for now. So what we've done is created the 3 separate views, the corresponding floor plans, existing plan. And if I was to place a door in here, for example, just to show you, put 2 doors, show a door, drop down the door and make sure it's on new construction, that's correct. If I then go to my demolition plan, you can see that there's temporary walls actually placed there, and you actually can't change the phase on these walls because it's the door that is actually making the change of the phase. So it just puts in the temporary work, and it automatically replaces with whatever wall type it has been, the OP has been created out of as well. You can see that's also been created in there. I'm actually just going to change the level of this just so it's a bit more of a single story building. What we can now do is actually create a schedule of the demolition works. So let's say just for walls, for example, wall schedule, perfect. We call it new construction for now, we can change that. So I just want to create a schedule of the walls. So the wall type, put in family and type, and let's say we want to put in the area as well. What I've also seen done is you may also apply a mark to each wall as a demolition mark. Perhaps each demolition area could contain a mark. Why not that? And the phase, that is another thing that we need to. So phase created, phase demolished. So we can then filter on anything that in column F here, if it's being demolished, that new construction. So filter by phase demolished is equal to new construction. We have 3 elements of walls that are being removed at that particular stage, and then we can actually come back into our sheet and get down to our wall schedule. We can in fact rename this as a demolition wall. Demolition schedule. So you get the idea that I've obviously simplified this to quite a small building, but you get the idea in how it could be applied across obviously a larger design or larger building. So what you could also do, like I said, with the mark is you could actually select each wall, apply a mark. So you might call this mark A, call this mark B. Depending if it's even for pricing for work as well. If you had a lot of demolition, you could quantify it even for your quantity surveyor in this regard as well. Mark D, then mark E. So because it's only walls that are being demolished at the moment, so we haven't created a door schedule. That's why they're not showing up here. So new construction phase created. You can see 3 different walls being demolished. We can see the area that are being demolished. We can even put in the height on that as well, and add in a type of description if we want. So that's at its very basic form. That is creating a automatic demolition drawing, just using duplicate views and renaming your particular views and just changing the phase filter on each individual view here on the left hand side. Thank you very much. That's everything I've presented for design options and phasing, and now happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Very, very handy stuff.
Thank you.
Go straight into questions then, if that's all right. We've got a question from Paul. I work primarily in renovations, so I have a main model created in the existing phase, but I want to paint the surface of existing walls with the material as paint tool for paint schedules. Is there a solution around this, do you reckon?
In the existing
phase?
Question a bit. I'd need to see the model, but what it sounds like to me is that you'd need to create a separate, almost a wall layer, like a 2 mil wall, basically, of the paint that's being applied if you want to schedule it. I don't think you can apply phasing to paint separately. But let me confirm that with you, but I'm fairly sure you can.
Yeah. Paul, if you could just give us a little bit more details in there, probably send us an email support at cadpoint.co.uk and we can work on that a bit more for you. Work around a solution to that. But yeah, you're right. If you want to schedule it, you'll have to make it a physical, physical object within
exactly. I expect so, because it's linked to the wall itself is one element, and that's essentially what is part of the phase.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so a question from Peter. When showing demo and previous, it contains the current rooms rather than the previous rooms. How do we show the existing plan with future demolitions and the existing room names?
How do we show the existing plan with future demolitions and existing room names? Demo and previous, it contains the current rooms. Oh yes, rooms are quite tricky if it's in phasing, it contains the current rooms rather than the previous rooms. How do we show the existing plan with future demolitions and the existing room names? I need to take a look at that one, just to get that one clear in my head. It doesn't sound as straightforward as I think, but let us come back to you on that one.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, if you send us a few details again at support at cadpoint.co.uk, and then we can have a look at that in more detail.
Even just a screenshot, and we can clarify that one.
It's come with an option here for the paint for Paul's question. You could possibly add a parameter called upgrade, then you can filter that in the schedule. Is that possible?
That's a very good point. Yes, yeah. Then it's a parameter. I suppose you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Cool. So we're just waiting. If anybody has any more questions, please put them into the box or the question answer box for us. a lot of things to cover there, a lot of detailed things, and it becomes very case specific, doesn't it? To figure out individual questions, individual way of doing things. What do you want? What phases do you want, and what do you want to show in each phase? And it becomes very specific for each particular scenario.
Exactly, and it depends if an element is hosted in, if a window is hosted in the wall, for example, and if you're only changing the window, you need to also include the wall in that phase as it's a hosted element.
Yeah. Just going to go over a few things, just cover a few events, feature events from us. This is our last event this year, but early next year, we have got a few events I want to run by you first. First of all, on the January the 20th, 2021 at 11 o'clock, we have presentation, stunning design visualization within the AEC collection. So in this one, you'll get a deep overview of the value of having access to Arnold Render Engine within the AEC collection. So based on a Revit interior and exterior design, you learn how easy it is to get that high quality photorealistic rendering and animation within minutes. Creating very realistic lighting and materials is not that complicated anymore. And we'll talk more about OSL and substance, and rendering on both CPU or GPU. So please do attend that, sign up to that. We've posted links within the chat website for that. Also coming up in January as well, on the 28th of January next year, we have again, due to great success of our previous 2D to BIM events, we have another chance. We have two-part webinars moving from 2D to BIM. If anybody there wants to learn about BIM, creating a BIM strategy suitable for your business next year, then please join this two-part webinar where you'll hear from our technical consultants, Lee and also Jonathan, on how businesses have successfully made this transition and what you need to do as well. So please sign up to that. Okay, cool. Looks like you've stumped them as well, John. No other questions at the moment.
Perfect, and we'll definitely clarify Peter's solution to Peter's question as well.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, Peter, I know you said that rooms relate existing only to a single phase and not span like a wall. But if we can answer that, we'll probably answer that in an email. If we answer that away from this webinar, we'll be able to give you some more detailed answers on that one, please. So
exactly.
Yeah, do send us an email.
Let me run a little test, that's all.
Yeah, we can get some more, probably get the model that you're using, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Work on that.
Well, I'll just let me, I'll just run an experiment myself, and I'll definitely get back to you with a solution.
Perfect. And again, this is recorded, so if you want to review this at any other time, it will be posted within very shortly onto our YouTube channel, and then you can review that. And have any questions on that, you can also again email us or phone us after that as well, just to let us know. Looks like we're okay at the moment. We've done a good job, John. Done a good job.
Perfect.
And I think we might just cut it short there and end it there. Everybody can take away what you've told them and have a great week, I suppose.
Thank you very much, Iqbal.
Yeah,
thank
stay
you,
safe, guys. Stay
have
warm.
a good day.
And also have a great Christmas and New Year's. So we won't see you until next year on these webinars. Perfect. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.